Welcome back to our Steven. Today, from a relationship blowing up over vanilla shampoo to someone refusing to carry out their wife's dying wish, we get to decide if any of these people are jerks in these update-filled Am I the Jerk stories, all starting with a post titled, Am I the Jerk for Eating My Entire Baked Potato? Original post, December 5th, 2025. I, 26-year-old male, am writing this after what I thought would be a nice dinner spiraled into a huge argument. For context, a few days ago, my fiancé's, 27-year-old female, parents invited us over for dinner. The planned meal was a steak with a baked potato and green beans. I've been with my fiancé for 6 years, engaged for the last 2, and the first time she ever saw me eat a baked potato, skin and all, she was a little confused but laughed it off and just said, "Just don't ever do that around my mom." I never thought much of that, until today, that is. Dinner started off well, general chit-chat about work and some discussion about football. I'm an Eagles fan and her mom likes the Broncos, so there's always some playful banter there. The food comes out, they say a little prayer, and we start eating. Everything is fine until I start digging into the potato. Her father tilted his head a little and looked at her, but didn't say anything. The issue arose once her mother noticed and looked at me like I was the most disgusting and foul thing she had ever seen. I didn't notice at first until she audibly made a gagging sound. Her mother then got up and ran straight to the bathroom. Both my fiancé and her father went to check on her, and I was left sitting there confused as heck. A few moments later, her dad came back and politely asked me to leave. I asked if something was wrong, and he calmly explained that, as I've been told before, that his wife has some dietary issues, and part of that includes potato skins, and that seeing me eat my entire potato made her nauseous. I apologized and left. About 10 minutes later, as I arrived at the apartment, I get a call from my fiancé. I answer, and she immediately starts yelling at me, calling me a jerk. I'm taken by surprise as I didn't expect her to be so upset about this. I try apologizing, and she cuts me off saying I'm inconsiderate and rude. I start to get upset, but before I can say anything, she says, "Whatever, we'll talk in the morning." I tried calling her back, and she sent me straight to voicemail. I've sent her multiple texts, but she hasn't read them. I really am confused as to if I'm really the jerk. So that's the end of the original post. The main things I have to say are, OP can't possibly be the jerk here. First of all, OP said it themselves. They had mentioned it 6 years ago as seemingly a joke. If it was legitimately a serious thing, you would hope that OP's fiancé would pull them aside and be like, "By the way, she really has a thing about potato skins." And honestly, I feel bad for OP because clearly this is a thing everybody else at that table are privy to. The OP walked into a room that had an invisible etiquette and was left in the dark about the "don't eat potato skins in front of mom" rule. The OP might apologize just to keep the peace, but I'd like to know, shouldn't in this situation with their fiancé, OP be the one demanding an apology? In the comments, a user named NoFunction223 wrote, "Not the jerk. If her mother is that sensitive to other people eating something she doesn't like, she shouldn't serve it. Or at the very least, say something before vomiting. Beyond dramatic in my opinion. But seriously, if the skin makes her react like that, I honestly cannot understand why she wouldn't just serve mashed potatoes instead. Legit drama queen right there that set herself up." Another user replied to that writing, "But if she did that, everybody wouldn't be talking about her and paying attention to her. She might not be the center of attention for 5 minutes? Can't have that." Another user named One Rainbow Unicorn wrote, "Not the jerk. What the actual freak? If someone eating a potato skin causes her to vomit, perhaps she should not serve potato skins, for freak's sake. A potato skin is the most nutritious part of a potato. The way your fiancé is behaving is out of line. How dare you eat the food my mom served you? Get the freak out. Don't marry into this family." Another user replied, "Please don't. They're unhinged, for real. Drama factory. Also, if fiancé knew that eating potato skins would make her mother vomit and hate her partner, why the actual freak wouldn't she tell him that beforehand? She set him up to fail and then yelled at him about it. And another thing, I always eat my entire potato. Eat your whole plate was always the rule in my house. Not eating the skin seems weird and entitled to me. The OP then goes on to post an update in the same post, December 6th, 2025, next day. Update. Okay, I know that maybe y'all weren't expecting an update, but here we are. To start off, to the handful of people saying this is fake, I don't know, man. I wish it was fake, but I can't really do much to change your minds. Second, saw a few people ask about the steak. It was amazing. Anyways, I did read a lot of comments last night before bed, and I did start contemplating calling off the engagement because everyone made good points about their behavior and handling of the situation. I decided to sleep on my thoughts, and this morning, I woke up to a couple of texts from my fiancée, her father, and her mother. Her mother actually apologized and asked me to call, so I did. When she answered, she sounded like death and proceeded to apologize again and explain that all day yesterday she had felt a little off, but kept a brave face as she didn't want anyone to worry. Turns out she has the flu. She kept apologizing profusely and said she was indeed a little grossed out by seeing me eat the potato skin because she had never seen anyone else do that, but she wasn't gonna yuck your yum had it not been for the sickness. Apparently, after running off, she did indeed vom, but she also felt extremely weak and got the chills. It was so bad, she went straight to bed. She also told me that she talked to my fiancé this morning and that there was a reason she lashed out at me so badly. Turns out, I'm gonna be a father. Her mother explained that my fiancé brought her a light breakfast and they sat talking about what happened at dinner. During the conversation, my fiancé apparently knocked over a teacup and became overly distressed and started to tear up. This prompted her mother to question if she could be pregnant. After a quick stop at the pharmacy and 4 pregnancy tests later, she was right, which honestly does explain her moods being different this past week. I don't want to be a stereotypical man, but I kind of assumed it was her period. My fiancé's text was an apology and a picture of the 4 positive pregnancy tests. I did call her as well, and we discussed how she lashed out at me. She apologized multiple times and even started crying about how she doesn't want to ruin 6 years. Her father apologized for asking me to leave and said he only did so because my fiancé seemed so upset and he thought it best to give us room before anything harmful could be said. I'm still processing all of this roller coaster, but yeah, her mother doesn't see me as a disgusting creature, everyone apologized, and things seem fine now. Although now I'm worried I might get sick since her mother let me try a sip from her wine glass last night. Sorry if this isn't the end you were hoping for, but I'm glad things weren't as bad as I thought. So that was the final update, and I've got to say I love that OP is talking about, oh no, I might get the flu, while in the same breath almost glancing over the fact that they're gonna be a father. Their priorities might be a little skewed there. I mean, shoot, the OP ended the update with, I'm sorry if this isn't the end you were hoping for. You shouldn't be worrying about whether or not the reader is satisfied, you're gonna be a dad. In the comments, a user named BlazerBoy wrote, most Reddit comment section I've seen in a while. OP, take a break from the internet. The OP replied, seriously, didn't think anyone would care this much about the situation. Like, now that everything is said and done, I see why people were so quick to jump on fiancé and mother-in-law, but given everything else, I'm more understanding about it all. I've seen people continue to say I'm a severe people pleaser and that I should leave, but this is the only time any argument or disagreement has spiraled this far, and that's why I was so confused about it. Anyways, I'm gonna take your advice and leave this post be for now, especially since I've got bigger fish to fry. And speaking of taking a break, if you could take just one quick little break and hit those like and subscribe buttons down below, it helps support these videos so much more than you can even imagine. Our next story is, am I the jerk for buying my girlfriend vanilla shampoo? Original post, January 4th, 2026. My girlfriend uses a few different types of shampoo and alternates between them. One of them, a vanilla scented one, is my favorite. She asked me to pick up some things for her at the store, and on my way to the checkout, I saw the vanilla shampoo and grabbed that too. When I got back to her apartment, she started putting away the things I bought. She was confused by the shampoo and asked me why I got it. I said I saw it and know she uses that kind and grabbed it for her. She said she wasn't running low on shampoo. I said I know, but it doesn't expire, and that one's my favorite. I teasingly said that she should use it if she's planning to wash her hair tonight. She asked what it meant by it being my favorite. I said I like the way it makes her hair smell, like cookies. She looked a little weirded out. I asked her if she was okay. She said it was weird that I sexualized her shampoo. I said smelling nice is attractive. I asked if she thinks I'm more attractive when I used nice-smelling soaps and deodorants. She said not really, as long as I don't actively smell bad. I said maybe it's different for everyone. She said honestly it bothered her that something as mundane as shampoo was sexual to me. She asked me if someone else smelled like vanilla, would I be attracted to them? I said no, that she was misunderstanding me. She asked me to clarify, but I don't think I did a good job. I said I specifically liked the smell on her, not other people. She still seemed put out, so I headed home to give her space. Was I a jerk for buying the shampoo and telling her that I like when she uses it? To me, that's not weird, but maybe that's because I'm a guy. Is there a layer to this I'm not seeing? Why do I feel like a line like that should have come from like Seinfeld or something? You don't sexualize shampoo. What's the deal with sexualizing shampoo? Now, I'm certainly by no means a worldly expert or anything, but I think scent is definitely one of the strongest attractors for human beings. I'll be honest, I'll appreciate if anybody smells like vanilla. By no means does it mean my brain would go primal and be like, must sleep with that. Ultimately, I feel like there has to be something more going on here for that girlfriend, because I just find it hard that she would somehow be offended that OP's like, oh yeah, I love the way it makes your hair smell. In the comments, one commenter wrote, I would have thought it was attractive and cute. You're not the jerk at all. The most romantic thing my husband did for me was buy me a personal pizza with olives on it, because I told him I like it but hadn't ordered one in years, because I just eat what everyone else likes and they don't like olives. We were talking about something else and I just casually mentioned it as an aside. 3 weeks later, I came home and it was sitting on our kitchen island with a heart drawn on the box. It wasn't the pizza, it was the confirmation that he was listening to me and not just paying attention to his phone. Being attentive is important. The OP of the post replied, I thought I was being attractive and cute too. She's my first real relationship, so I acknowledge that I'm inexperienced here, but I thought it was a very innocent way to flirt. It's not like I bought her underwear. Another commenter wrote, not the jerk, what on earth? You did something nice. She should have said thank you. My husband comments if he likes my perfume. She presumably buys the vanilla scented shampoo because she also likes the smell. Making it out like you're some weird freak for also liking the smell is wild. It's like she was looking for something to fight about. The OP replied, yeah, I don't get it. Liking certain smells is normal, right? Isn't that the point of scented things and perfume? It's not a creepy thing to like. One commenter wrote, does she often pick fights and criticize you like this? You did nothing wrong. Yes, smelling good is attractive. I've had women ask me what laundry detergent I used because they loved the way my clothes smelled and wanted to be reminded of me. Your girlfriend is being weird. The OP replied, we fight sometimes, but not often. This is the first fight that felt completely out of left field. Usually I see where she's coming from, but this time I am so confused. Another commenter wrote, not the jerk, you didn't mention your age, hoping you're teenagers? The OP replied, I'm 19 and she's 20. One downvoted commenter wrote, I feel like you're definitely leaving something out here. How long have you been together? Is this the first time you told her you like a scent when it comes to her? She clearly has some sort of trauma that probably needs to be worked through with you, not judgment because she didn't respond properly to something out of the blue. The OP replied, we started dating exclusively 4 months ago. No, I've told her she smells nice before. The last time we were intimate, I said she smelled great, and she responded very positively to that. I didn't specifically say it was her hair that smelled nice, so maybe she didn't realize that's what I was referring to. One commenter asked, did she grow up conservative or really sheltered? The OP replied, no, her parents are very progressive. They're supportive of her bisexuality. We met once and they're very cool. And finally, one commenter wrote, I don't think you're going to have a long relationship with this one. She's trying to find trouble. If she's worried about this, why doesn't she use unscented products? The OP replied, she doesn't use perfume, but she uses scented products and they all smell great. To me, the scented soap smell is better than perfume. More subtle, more, I'm not sure which word to use. It's nicer. I've always liked that about her. I didn't think it was weird. The OP then posted an update January 5th, 2026, the next day. So yesterday, my girlfriend didn't like it that I took it upon myself to buy her vanilla shampoo when I was picking some things up for her at the store. We met up at her apartment again this morning for breakfast, and I asked if we could talk about our boundaries and expectations, because I never want to make her feel uncomfortable. She agreed that we should talk. She said that when she visited her family over winter break, she had time to think about our relationship and talk to her parents and sister about me. She said that space and perspective made her realize some things. The first thing she realized is that she isn't happy that we always meet at her apartment. I said I completely understand that, and she's welcome to come hang out at mine. When we first started dating, she didn't want to visit my apartment often because of my 4 roommates. But things change, and I get that. She still doesn't want to hang out at my apartment because of my 4 roommates, though. She said that my living situation is too crowded and it bothers her. I asked if she wanted me to move, and she said she would like it if I made a commitment to finding a new living situation by the next semester. Since the next semester is a long way off, this isn't unreasonable, but I was hesitant. I really like my living situation. My friends and I help each other out a lot. I don't necessarily want to live alone, and it's expensive. She can afford to live alone, but I don't necessarily think I could. I explained that I didn't think I could afford it. She suggested I ask my parents for money, which isn't an option. She also pointed out that I have a part-time job, but that doesn't make enough money to pay for my own apartment. I asked if me spending too much time at her apartment is the only issue, because I felt like there was more to the shampoo thing. She said yes, that she didn't like that. She said that she didn't like the idea that I'm constantly thinking about hooking up with her and that it made her feel disrespected. I said I'm not constantly thinking about hooking up with her. I told her it's more that I really like her, and sometimes she does things and I think they're attractive. But that doesn't mean I necessarily want to hook up at that moment. It's just my internal monologue going, that was attractive. That wasn't the right way to explain it. She didn't seem to understand where I was coming from. She asked me what was going through my head when I was at the store and if I was thinking about hooking up with her. I said I was thinking about the store, the items I needed to buy, inflation, etc. And then I saw the shampoo and I thought about how she uses it and it makes her hair smell amazing, and I bought it. She asked if I specifically thought about the way her hair smelled the last time we hooked up. And I said yes, but it wasn't like I had a full hooking up fantasy in the store. It was a momentary thought. She said that that isn't normal and I might have Tourette's or ADHD or OCD or some other condition that causes intrusive thoughts. I'm really glad I made the last post because I was worried about what she said, but then I remembered all of the commenters that mentioned also feeling the same way about scents. But maybe it isn't ubiquitous. She said it isn't normal and I might want to talk to a doctor about potentially having hypersexuality. Between her not liking my living situation and her not liking that I'm attracted to her smell, which is probably my fault because I wasn't doing a good job of explaining things, I realized we just weren't compatible. I told her I thought maybe we had different needs for a relationship and maybe we would be better as friends. She said she was disappointed in me, but that she agreed. We hugged it out. I'm a little bummed, but we were only dating for 4 months. Thanks for being my normalcy barometer, since I don't have one for relationships yet. So there's another update to come, but I just have to say that one ended weirdly amicably, but also still just so weirdly. I mean, come on, OP said, I like the way your hair smells. And she goes, maybe that's ADHD, OCD, Tourette's, hypersexuality, maybe all of them. In the comments, one commenter wrote, buddy, she wanted to tank your financial situation for a relationship of 4 months? I know you like this woman, but you dodged a bullet. And liking how someone smells is perfectly normal. The OP replied, I think she was just communicating. She wants a partner that has their own place. It's fair for her to let me know that. That doesn't work for me right now, so we aren't compatible. That doesn't make her a wrong or bad girlfriend, just not the right girlfriend for me, and right now, I'm not the right boyfriend for her. Another commenter wrote, you handled that well, and you both made the right call. Thank you for the update. Don't listen to her diagnostics. The OP in a downvoted comment replied, I think I just did a bad job of explaining myself. I think she was imagining that I'm constantly seeing things that make me think about hooking up with her. It's more that my mind, and I think this is very common, is a stream of thought. I'm constantly thinking about a lot of things. Every once in a while, a thought will be sexual, but it isn't constant, and it doesn't affect my ability to do regular things. I just had trouble verbalizing that to her. Another commenter wrote, "Scent is the sense that is directly linked to memory and emotion, much more so than our other senses, so your reaction was perfectly normal. It's pretty freaked up that she would try to turn a very human response into you having a medical condition. I hope you see that and don't let it affect your self-worth. You deserve much better." The OP replied, "Thank you. I was anxious about it, but then I thought of all the people who told me they also feel that way about smell, so I'm not going to dwell on it." Then OP on the financial background involved, and if the exes bought something for him, wrote, "I think we just come from different financial backgrounds, and maybe she doesn't understand my situation is different from hers. Plus, she has bought me things though. She bought me a new pair of shoes, which is more expensive than a grocery run. They're really nice shoes." And OP responds to a downvoted commenter regarding the goals in their relationship, writing, "I think that in the future, I want to date a woman that likes being thought of as attractive and that wants me to be attractive for her. Not all the time, obviously, but sometimes. I think this experience taught me that's something I value in a partner." The OP then goes on to post another new update. Update number 2, January 28th, 2026. 3.5 weeks later. "Hi, I just want to thank you all for the feedback. I think this is the right place for second updates. You all helped me figure out a really confusing experience. I broke up with my girlfriend 3 weeks ago and have been on a few dates since then. She texted me a few hours ago asking to give us another shot. If it wasn't for all the feedback you guys gave me, I probably would have taken her up on the offer. Keeping in mind what she said about me, I turned her down. She said she noticed some alarming patterns in me and that she might have overreacted. I told her I understand and that it's okay, but I'm interested in dating some more. She said the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and we know we're compatible. I disagreed with her and said we aren't actually compatible because of the housing situation. She said she's willing to give me another shot, and if we work out in 6 months to a year, we can move in together. I still said no. I definitely would have agreed before I read all your comments. So yeah, thanks again. I have a couple of dates scheduled for this weekend, a first and a second. Wish me luck." In the comments, one commenter wrote, "Your ex is insane, and she is not having any luck dating. I think she made you break up with her so you're the bad guy and she could date someone else who, once she had him, was not as good as you. Block her and move on." Our next story is, "Am I the jerk for not honoring my wife's dying wish?" Original post, September 27th, 2025. Posting from a throwaway account. 6 years ago, my wife passed away after a short illness. The day before she passed away, it seemed as though she may pull through. She said to me, "If I die, you're not allowed to date." I laughed and promised I wouldn't. Both of my daughters were there when she said it. That night, things went horribly downhill, and she was gone by noon the next day. I've spent the last 6 years raising my girls and finally sent my youngest off to college in August. I have been involved in a few support groups for people who have lost spouses for the last few years. And earlier this year, I really connected with a woman who lost her husband around the same time. I wasn't looking for a relationship, but we've been on a few dates and I've been trying to keep it concealed at least in the meantime. We ended up going to a restaurant, and our server was one of my older daughter's friends from high school. She must have called or texted my daughter because last night my daughter called to scream at me and basically told me I was cheating on her mother and I had no right to dishonor her request of me. I am pretty furious she called me like that, and I had to hang up and told her I'd call her in the morning when I've had some time to reflect. Now, all I can think of is how horrible I am for this. I'm 45 years old and I need companionship, but I don't want my daughters to think I'm spitting on their mother's grave. My wife's sister also texted me to tell me that my wife's request was unreasonable and unfair, and that her family's not going to judge me if I move on, and she would talk to my daughter about it. I don't want to ruin my relationship with my kids over this, but I am so dang torn. Am I the jerk for not honoring her request? Edit. Wow, thank you for all the comments. I want to clear up that when she said it, I did take it as a joke and I think she was joking as well. The issue, as pointed out by a few, is that my kids were present and took it seriously. They were 14 and 12 at the time. She had been hospitalized with severe pneumonia and had been on oxygen for 2 days. All signs were pointing to a full recovery, and it was during this time she made the statement. None of us expected her to go downhill so quickly overnight. So that was the end of the original post, and I just have to say, I don't think OP's the jerk because while I don't blame the daughters for it, it is a selfish thing to assert OP can only live in this frozen time and never have any other companionship for themselves ever again. The question it makes me think about is it ever fair that somebody thinks the way to honor someone's memory is for the other person to never truly be able to move forward in their life? Even if it wasn't made jokingly, and OP had made that promise, 6 years down the road of living on their own, their kids move out. Would they still be the jerk if they had gone back on an actual promise? I'm not entirely sure. In the comments, the OP replies to a downvoted commenter blaming the server for being malicious, writing, "Her intent was not malicious. She's always been a good friend to my daughter, and I think it was probably a, 'Hey, I saw your dad on a date. I'm so happy for him' type of situation. I've never known her to be vindictive." Another commenter asked, "Is your daughter autistic? Genuine question. Has she ever been tested?" The OP replied, "She has ADHD but no formal diagnosis of autism, though it is suspected." The OP then posted an update in the same post, September 28th, 2025, next day. Update: I called my daughter this morning and asked her if I can come to her campus for breakfast with her. She goes to school an hour away, so it isn't a bad drive. Apparently, my sister-in-law did talk to her last night and told her she was being irrational and unfair and that I deserve to be happy. My younger daughter, who goes to school several hours away, also told my daughter it isn't a big deal and I'm allowed to live my life. We had breakfast and walked around her campus for a few hours. We talked about her mom and how much we all loved her and miss her. We had some laughs and cries, and I told her I would never try to replace her mother, and anyone I date would have to get along with my girls. She is still upset, which I acknowledged, but she agrees it's unreasonable to expect me to go the rest of my life alone. She apologized for her reaction and genuinely felt bad that she acted that way. I suggested we go to therapy together to work some of this out, but she's really busy at school, so wouldn't be able to until winter break. I feel like I left her with understanding and really hope she won't hold this against me. I wasn't even looking for a relationship, especially at a support group. We met in March, went on our first date in July, and have only been on 3 more since. We've not even been intimate, so I'm not exactly sure where it's going. I appreciate all of the responses and advice from everyone. You know, I'm really glad this final update worked out the way it did. I think OP going and showing up in person and just being a supportive, loving dad, I think that probably helps make a big difference for that kid. You know, just seeing him there probably helps cement a little bit more thinking about exactly what he'd been going through for the last 6 years, and knowing it's not fair to expect him to just stay alone for the rest of his life. I really do think just being able to have the dad there and in person makes it so much easier to finally see their side. There's no weird, intermediate, faceless hostility that texting or phone calls can create. In the comments, a user named Grand Joe wrote, "Someone acts unreasonable, realizes they've been unreasonable, apologizes for their unreasonable actions, and things all work out. Are we sure this is a Reddit story?" Another user replied, "I know this is a real story because his daughter was too busy with university classes for therapy." Another user named Valuable Reputation wrote, "I think the mom's sister talking to the daughter is what helped. Like, that's a direct connection to her mom, and she's saying how ridiculous she's being." But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear some more crazy update-filled Am I the Jerk stories, why not check out that video on the left of the screen right now? Or if you missed my latest video, you can check that out on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.